It's Mechanics here today and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I want to share a series of common mistakes that people make while troubleshooting vehicles. May be very relatable to you. There's no order, so take what you can from the video, watch to the end. It's very helpful. This is just what I've seen over the years with my experience and my mess ups. We all make mistakes, so let's get into it. Mistake number one, not hooking up a battery maintainer. All right, so this is a big one, and I'm not doing this in any particular order, but when you're troubleshooting electronics, you have to maintain battery system voltage. And for people who aren't mechanically inclined, it's all about learning. Your vehicle at a resting state is 12.6 volts when the alternator is turning and producing electricity. You're probably running 13.6 to 14.7, makes and models vary, but system voltage is 12.6, and you got to charge higher to maintain that battery. So when you start troubleshooting and you're leaving the vehicle running, you're slowly draining that state of charge on the battery. So it'll go from 12.6 to 12.5 to 12.3, and that's no good. Because electronics do very, very weird things when they drop below a certain threshold that they need to function. And I want to do another video on this, but people don't know, a lot of Hondas come with enhanced flood lead acid batteries. And I remember taking a training course on that on the Honda site. It's 12.6 volts, but at 12.5, it's 80% efficiency. 12.4, it's down to 60%. And effectively, at 12.3 volts, this battery cannot start a vehicle. So voltage is so critical these days with the troubleshooting electronics that not throwing a battery maintainer on first thing is very, very detrimental to what you're doing. You need to maintain those voltages because lots of things will start happening that you can't account for, and it's going to send you down the wrong path. All right, and mistake number two is not understanding how the system works that you're troubleshooting. So this is a big one. I've been burned by this. Every technician's been burned by it. If you're a DIYer, you're going to get burned by it. Is not understanding how the system works that you're troubleshooting. And a lot of vehicles these days, the vehicle needs to be running for everything to function, and that's a hard live test to do. It takes years and years to get that kind of skill set to understand how things work. So you may pull up a system description or a schematic, and it may say hot at all times, but what it's not telling you is it's hot at all times, but running, this voltage changes from this to this, and this signal's pulse width modulated, or it needs to see a wake-up signal from another module on the bus that tells it to do something differently. Schematics can only tell you so much, and wiring diagrams only tell you so much. Sometimes you just need exposure and experience to see how the system works. And a lot of times when complaints or issues come up, you don't really understand how it works. I remember when I was at the private garage, I had to hustle to learn how a system works because there's so many vehicles out there and they're not all made the same way. So the number one thing you can do when troubleshooting is truly understanding how the system works. You have to research it. You got to pull up schematics. You got to pull up TSBs. You got to go through everything, system descriptions, see the modules. That's the only way you can properly troubleshoot something, because that's what's going to slow you down. Is if you think you know how it works and it's not working that way, you may call a module or something that it didn't need because you didn't truly understand how it worked. Mistake number three, not confirming the issue. All right. This is 100% a tough one when you're chasing intermittent issues, but it's just, you have to confirm there's an issue. A lot of times, if you don't understand how a system works, the customer doesn't understand how it works. The vehicle may do weird things that they're not used to, or they just noticed, or somebody who's driving a different vehicle pointed out that their vehicle's not behaving right, even though that's the way it behaves. So I had a lot of complaints at the dealer where other people told them their car isn't doing something right, even though they're driving a Ford and I'm working on a Honda. So confirming the problem is huge. I can't even explain to people how important this step is, because it can save you a lot of headache and save the customer a lot of money. This is just something that doesn't need to be beat to death, but if you cannot verify an issue at the time, you have to say, hey, maybe we need to have this car overnight, or we have to spend some extra time on it. Like a lot of times I had customers' cars and I took it home to just see if it'll do something. Like Hondas are infamous for alarms going off in the middle of the night, but they won't go off in the day. You just have to wake up in the middle of the morning and be like, oh yeah, that alarm went off. So verify, verify, verify. I cannot express how important that is. All right, mistake number 4, not talking to the customer. So this is a huge one. This is a step that you can't skip out on. This is harder at the dealerships, but anytime I had intermittent problems or electrical troubleshooting, I called the customer. I preferred being in person. Something over the phone, there's a disconnect there and the customer's brain shuts off. They just want to get off that call as fast as possible. Whereas in person, they're going to give you all the information that they didn't know they had to give you and didn't think of. Whereas, because you're in person, they just want to give you as much as they can. And sometimes it's just going to be like, oh, I just pinpointed what the problem is based on what they told you. And being at a dealer, there's a disconnect there because they don't want technicians interacting with customers, oddly enough. Private garages, even that's beginning to be a little hard, but the customer is a valuable tool in diagnostic information because they're there with a complaint. Yes, your service advisor or whoever's up front will write things down, but they might not write down enough. So you have to do that one step and talk to the customer. It's so huge. It's so underrated. Just do it. You're going to get information you didn't know that was important. So do it. All right, let's talk about it. Mistake number 5, visuals. Oh, huge. Visuals. Just doing a visual is the greatest diagnostic step on the planet. For someone who pulls in a vehicle and goes right to the scan tool, it's helpful, don't get me wrong. I'll hook up a scan tool, but the first thing I'm doing if I see anything, I'm popping the hood, I'm checking connections, I'm doing a visual while that scan tool is scanning. And visuals are the number one way to identify a problem. You may have engine lights on. Okay, well, you're scanning, you pop the hood. Oh, look, top of the engine. Rodent chewed through the harness. I just saved myself a lot of grief. The scan tool will get you there eventually. Or, you're chasing intermittent problems and you pull off a harness and, oh, look, I have a bent connector there, or I have a loose connection, or it's just visuals will save your butt. Like I said, those technicians who instantly go to the scan tool, you're kind of crippling yourself a little bit. Walk around, do visuals, check for gap panels. If the gap's tight on one side, check for damage. It may have been in a collision. That may be your intermittent problem. You may be chasing, I can't break that harness. You may be chasing harnesses that got pinched. They just have enough connection to function, but when they get hot, they open up. Visuals. I will never, ever tell someone not to look around the vehicle. Like, everybody's a visual learner. You look, you feel, you touch. Use those skills. It will save your butt. All right, here's a doozy one. Mistake number 6, codes. Oof. This is a bit of a doozy because this is where experience is going to trump everything else. So, codes. Rule 1 is when I scan a vehicle, I'm not scanning one module. I'm doing a full system scan. And if I'm hooked up to Wi-Fi, I'm hitting print. 100% hit print. And then the next thing you're going to go into is check the history codes, check the snapshots, hit print. There's so much valuable information in there. Those shops who get customers to come in, charge them for a scan, and clear the codes, don't do that. Don't do that. You lose so much valuable information. Young guys out there, never clear codes. And I know if you're doing a full system scan, go into the codes and click on the snapshot data. There's so much important information there. Like, a lot of people will say, hey, I was driving 60 kilometers an hour and this engine light came on. You go in the snapshot data, you were parked. It says park, 0 kilometers an hour. Something's not adding up. Then you can start piecing together things. Always print everything out, write it down, check snapshot data. Other thing here is, when you start disconnecting modules, you're creating problems. Oh, I'll skip a step here. I'm going to go back a step. So, you have an engine light on. Let's take Honda, for example. The second you have an engine light on, you're going to have ABS codes, VTM4 codes. You're going to have all a slew of codes. Those go away once you road test. It's just reactive. So you got to learn on some brands just to ignore half of the BS and focus on what's important. Second thing, I'll get back to that. When you start unplugging things while the vehicle's alive, let's say alive, running or keys on, ignition on, you're going to create other codes that are going to interfere with what you're doing. So once you've saved everything, you got to get confident in clearing these. So save everything, clear the codes, and do a reset. Who knows what you would have done? You might have put the vehicle in a hard theft mode or locked the system out temporarily because you unplugged something live. You got to start over. I've seen a lot of mechanics go down the garden path because they were doing testing and they created another problem. And it didn't throw a code, but it behaved differently. And the best thing they could have done is reset the vehicle and cleared things, but no, it started behaving differently and they started chasing another issue that wasn't related to what they were doing. Sometimes you just have to start right over from scratch. I always recommend when somebody's into a vehicle for so long and they're chasing problems is go in, hard reset, disconnect the battery, touch the terminals together, clear all the codes, and start over. That will save you so much time, and I can't express how hard of a learned lesson that was for me. So, All right, for the last mistake, not verifying a fix. This is a huge one. All right, this is a huge one. You say, let's say you spent days chasing a problem, you finally narrowed it down, you threw a part at it, it's behaving normally. You just want the car out of there. You're over it. No. Keep it. You have to verify you actually fixed something, because it's going to take you a lot more time coming back and having angry people. So yes, every technician's going to make this mistake. Every DIYer, may not be important to you, but because you're working on your own car, but you're going to make this mistake. You have to verify the fix, even though it's a pain in the butt. It might take days, it might take weeks. Sometimes it's instant because, misfire goes away or this or that, code's clear. But those intermittent ones will haunt you if you don't verify it. And get other people involved. If you're at a dealership and you have a tower dispatch or a quality control, get them to take the vehicle and confirm it too. That way you can cover your butt and give the customer peace of mind saying, hey, we had multiple people test this. We verified. Got any issues? Come back. We will help you out. But if you just say, hey, we changed the part, good to go, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Verify. That is a word every technician should have engraved in their head. You need to confirm those fixes. It's nothing more heart-stopping than hit and locate in the morning, or they hand you a work order saying, you got to come back, private garage or dealership. It's the worst feeling in the world. So verify. Even if it takes some time, because it takes a lot less time to verify than having to do it all over again. I'll tell you that. Now, mistake number 8. This is for the viewers. Whatever you want to put in. So let's talk about it. So this one's simple. Whatever anybody wants to add into the comments. I did nothing in order. I did nothing particularly more important than the others. It's just stuff I've experienced and seen over the years. I want to help people out. So if you got something in the comments, add in what you think will help. We're a community here. Everybody helps everybody. This stuff applies to every other trade. You got a battery in something, you're going to need a charger. Little things like this really go a long ways in helping people. Like I said, in the future, I want to be more of a learning channel there, teach people things. Time will come. Looking for projects, but yeah. So yeah, post in the comments what you think. So if you made it this far in the video, Lance Mechanics, watch some other videos. Yeah, this is a bit of a long one. I didn't think it would go that far, but I love talking. So yeah, post in the comments. Have a good one. Take care.